guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha if you are new here, and today's video is going to be on a couple of subjects. But before I get started, I would like to say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays if I don't see you before then, and I hope you have a beautiful and safe Christmas. So I wanted to start out the video a little bit on happiness and dopamine. So happiness and dopamine and serotonin kind of play a role in our life, and dopamine and serotonin are very important chemicals within the brain. Serotonin is what I like to call our emotional stability center, and it's also our wellness center. So this type of chemical spikes when we complete a task, usually something that we enjoy doing, such as maybe it's making our bed or assignment. Maybe it's finish making food. It's usually task oriented and it gives kind of a relief feeling. Whereas dopamine is more of our pleasure seeking part of our brain. And this really has to do with not necessarily tasks, but the journey to getting what we want. And this usually spikes when we are normally doing something on the journey or going somewhere that we're really excited about going to. So my point of this is bringing up this little scientific fact is that if you are a person that thinks that a romantic relationship will make you happy, or really one thing will make you happy, you're going to be really disappointed, because happiness doesn't really consist of one thing, and it doesn't, and scientifically doesn't exist when completing something. When you arrive at a destination, it spikes serotonin, but not necessarily dopamine. So when going on a healing journey or experiencing something different, I like to keep in mind that you want to make the journey something that is exciting for you, or more like kind of like a game, so that even if you start doing something that you don't necessarily like to be doing, it kind of promotes that excitement during when you get to what you want. So when people first start out going from a toxic relationship to a healthy relationship, obviously there's some inner work that's going to be done, that has to be done, because normally someone that has a lot of things that they find attractive within someone, they're going to have to make some changes within their personal life or their patterns in order to find someone that is healthy, actually attractive. So I'm going to be giving two types of examples actually of healthy relationships, and then a trauma bond or toxic relationships. So the easiest way I could sum up a toxic relationship or a trauma bond is it's usually in a form of Stockholm Syndrome, and there usually has to be a codependent or a person that is either narcissistic or more of a taker. The reason why I say Stockholm Syndrome is because Stockholm Syndrome usually involves having psychological or false feelings towards either a perpetrator or an abuser or a toxic person in order to basically leave a relationship. So it's a form of self-protection, but it's not useful. So if you're a person that really is tired of attracting these types of people, I'm going to be giving ways to stop patterns, and then kind of the difference between toxic and healthy relationships. So I'm just going to jump right into it. The first way of knowing what a healthy relationship is open communication on pretty much all subjects. Now, some people are a little bit more private than others, but pretty much if you're in a healthy relationship, all subjects can be discussed. Usually in toxic relationships, there are just subjects that give too much drama, that a person really doesn't want to go into certain subjects, or they're not emotionally vulnerable with the other person. So the relationship is typically really shallow in a toxic relationship. more physical oriented. There are usually a lot of sex involved or very quickly in the relationship. Whereas healthy relationships are more based on stability and trust and building more of a connection with a person. If you're looking for something that is lasting, then a healthy relationship or a stable relationship is something that you're probably going to looking forward to. So to build trust within a person, you're going to have to tell them what you want. And it's, especially for women and for some men, it's really hard to tell someone what they actually want. And the way to build trust with yourself is to be completely honest with yourself. It is to keep your word with yourself and to fulfill tasks that you say that you're going to do. That is a way that you're going to build trust with yourself. So when you see another person that's trustworthy, if they necessarily don't keep their word, or they don't keep their promises, or their words don't match their actions, that's going to kind of be what I like to call red flags. Trauma bonds usually consist of highs and lows. So what I like to call the honeymoon stage, and then the rest is kind of chaotic and like blurry. One person usually feels really guilty in a toxic relationship. They typically don't feel like they're good enough. They typically give up all of their needs in order to please the other person. And the person that they are giving to really doesn't have an awareness of what they are doing, nor do they care. So this person typically chases or usually is in a really state of desperation with the person that's kind of like the taker. So usually when two people come into a relationship that is toxic, there's usually both parties are toxic, but one person kind of comes into a state of, I have all these needs and I'm willing to give them up for you, because that is a codependent trait. But it's because the codependent has either learned or believed that they have needs in order to give up for other people, because they learn that love is being in a state of pain, which is not true. Love is to give and receive, and it is to basically make each person flourish so that they can water themselves and water each other. So there usually is a taker in the relationship as well, and this person really is not really that self-aware, and they kind of are not aware that they can meet their own needs. So they kind of feel entitled to other people and taking from the self-sacrificer. So in order to have a toxic relationship, you typically have to have those two people. So you usually can tell which one you are, and if you're watching this video, you probably are the self-sacrificing person. I'm not saying that people that are the takers don't want to get better, but they're usually a little bit more difficult to get through to. So a person that's usually a taker, 9 times out of 10 is usually on some sort of it could either be prescription drugs that are being abused, or some type of drug or something that alters the mind, such as drugs or alcohol, gambling, pornography. And the reason why I say this is because any form of addiction acts as a coping mechanism, and it also is a form of what I like to call an entity. And the reason why I like this word, because it kind of acts as a friend. And I really hate to use that word too, because drugs, alcohol, substances that really allow you not to align with a purposeful life, these people typically don't feel like they have a purpose in life. So they kind of cope through life by taking these substances or engage in these activities. So it makes them have less awareness, and having these coping mechanisms kind of view life for them, if that makes sense. So basically, the positive motivation for doing this is that they don't know how to meet their own needs healthy, and they typically feel like they are in a state of desperation all of the time. So if you were to get anything out of toxic relationships, it would be learn what you are desperate for and really try to understand that. So people that are kind of in a state of wanting to be in a toxic relationship really want to be needed. So it's very helpful to ask yourself where you learned that, how you can get more value other than being in pain, and I mean, what kind of purposes do you have in life? What do you enjoy doing? Do you have any other hobbies in life besides being in relationships? Do you have a support system? Are you able to find fulfillment in other things other than romantic relationships? That will really help with the despair feeling when coming into a relationship. So also, I would like to point out that everyone kind of carries an emotional body, and basically your emotional body is an internal world, and this internal world kind of consists of your purpose in life, what you enjoy doing, characteristics, experiences. This world consists of basically an intrinsic story. So I would like you to imagine that each person is kind of walking around with this story within themselves, and we're going to view them as non-judgmental. So this also includes your nervous system. And your nervous system literally holds billions and billions of cells. And it's being studied that cells actually form or can hold a memory. So imagine all of these cells holding this memory. And basically everyone has a story to tell. So never think that you as a person are not special or not unique, because you literally have billions of cells that can remember things and are really there to protect you and love you. So even if you are a person that keeps making the mistakes all the time, or maybe is in an unhealthy relationship, never think that you're not special or unique, because you have a very unique purpose, and I mean that's very obvious from the cells within your body. So I think that the emotional body is a bridge basically from the physical body to the mental body. So never think that you actually can't change, and never think that you can't grow, and never think that you don't have the capability to change, because you can. And you'd be very surprised on the people that have really made a big difference within the world, really came from a place that felt like they can't change. So never believe that you can't change and that you can't do something. So if you are a person that is struggling with learning healthy boundaries and what's healthy and what's not healthy, understand that that doesn't come overnight, and that you can learn to live a different life and make different choices. So what I like to do, if you're a person that kind of is struggling with knowing the difference between, healthy relationships and unhealthy relationships, is don't focus your whole life on a romantic relationship. Do things that actually add value to your life, that don't necessarily have to do with a relationship. Like, what is it that actually makes your life meaningful? And if you don't know, then that might be something that you want to look into. And, friends and money come and go, but things that you do or didn't do really have a lasting effect. So really ask yourself what it is that you want to have an effect on, or who you want to have an effect on, or how you want to have an imprint on the life that you have. So I wanted to also leave at the end of your life, would you be happy and fulfilled with how your life played out? Was your motivation love or fear? If you were a bird looking over your life, would you find that you were happy or sad every day? And what would you find odd that you did every day? Would you feel empowered or would you feel sad as this bird? Do you really want to spend your whole life living the way that you are currently living? Why or why not? People and money will come and go, but at the end of the day, you have yourself and you have your billions of cells.